Hi, my name is Elvia Valdez. Today I will be presenting over the agenda setting theory. Basically, the agenda setting theory proposes that while the media does not tell the public what to think, they still hold a very strong influence on what the public should think about. Essentially, in a way, whatever the media deems important, the public will also deem important. So whatever's on the front page the most often, people will look at that and think on what's going on around their world, creating their reality or their political reality. This concept that the media's influence over people will go as far as to tell the public what to think about was first referred to as the agenda setting theory in 1972 by Maxwell McCombs and Donald Shaw. Of course, earlier in that year, June of 1972, Watergate broke out. Of course, Nixon disregarded it and said it was a third-rate burglary. The press, when they first reported on it, there was no immediate response or any effect on the public. Eventually, Nixon did get kicked out due to public pressure, but of course, this would have never happened without the mass media continuously insisting on the importance of this issue. The importance of this event is to show the relationship between the mass media and the effect that they have on the public and how their perception changes according to what the mass media presents them with. Maxwell McCombs and Donald Shaw had worked on the idea of the agenda setting theory in 1968. They started conducting surveys on the students at the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill over the 1968 election. Through this study, they found an active relationship between the mass media and the public. So there are two levels to the agenda setting theory. The first level is what to think about, which is basically the media transferring the salience of items on their news agenda to our agenda. In other words, the public's agenda. The second level, the media tells us how to think about it, and which is also known as framing. They transfer the salience of selected attributes to prominence among the pictures in our heads. In other words, the second process is basically transferring the important characteristics of a story and presenting them in a way that the public can judge their political reality and further conceptualize their situation. A good way to apply this theory is by taking a look at our current general political environment that we find ourselves in here in the United States. Many people were shocked to find out that Donald Trump had beaten Clinton. Of course, it was a very tight win, but people were nonetheless very surprised because the mass media had been feeding the public the idea that Clinton was going to win. She was, the better candidate, more experienced, and things of this sort kind of made the public believe that she would win. No matter who voted for who, that she would win. I think this is a perfect way of showing how the media affects people, and especially the way that liberal media and conservative media presented these two candidates to people. The liberal media focused on Donald Trump's on the many lawsuits that he had, on his failed businesses, and essentially on basically the terrible things he said. And this could be looked as the framing, if you will, the mass media framing what to look at when you're looking at Donald Trump, or when you're looking at news regarding Donald Trump. Look at this area, the fact that he did this or he said that. And the conservative media, they showed Clinton focusing on her faults and the corruption behind her exposed emails. So their framing was more focused on her exposed emails and the fact that she's a liar, or that she was also corrupt and essentially another politician, just waiting to get their money. I think this was a perfect example of how the mass media works and the effect that they have on people, putting image, not necessarily telling them what to think, but telling them what to think about and showing them these images, giving them these ideas to work with to further understand and make their own political reality, which is where we find ourselves today.